Good morning, everyone. Just a very short announcement. We're waiting for Professor Lauristin. She will join us in 5 minutes because there is a traffic jam apparently. So we'll start in 5 minutes. Meanwhile, just to advise you that you can use all Wi-Fi networks available with the exception of live media because we are web streaming through it, okay? So you'll hear from me again in a few minutes. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to kindly invite the speakers at the first panel to take their places over there. My name is Assya Kavrakova. I'm the director of the European Citizen Action Service. Welcome today to the Digital Democracy Conference. I'm really glad to see you all here. Maybe you know, most of you I guess know, that today is the Holocaust Remembrance Day. I believe that this is a good occasion for us to remind ourselves about the values on which the European project is built, and also to remember that actually we have to safeguard the achievements of democracy and of this European project on a daily basis. Unfortunately, the recent events in France, as well as the developments of Ukraine, remind us of this. At the same time, I believe we have to be ambitious and forward-looking, and we have to push ourselves in what we do, as well as the development of the European project, because it's our project. This is the only way in which we can restore the place of the citizen at the heart of it. We have heard from the new President of the European Commission, Mr. Juncker, that he intends to listen more to citizens, to restore their trust in the democratic institutions, as well as to restore their confidence. This is a very promising statement, and we all welcome and look forward to it. The question is, how would this be achieved? Are we having really the infrastructure in place in order to be able to secure such an ambitious goal? We know that in the last 5 years, the technological developments have been more rapid than the previous 15, and this is a fact. Is this an opportunity, however, in order to outreach more and to be able to use those developments in order to engage the unengaged? We at ECAS believe so. This is the reason why we developed ECAS 2.0 strategy, and we are trying very hard to take advantage of the variety of tools in the digital era in order to achieve our goals. I wonder if it's time also for Europe to think of a Citizen 2.0 strategy. However, we also know that technology does not create miracles. People do. We do. Therefore, we have to use technology wisely and to balance it with other tools. It's important to take advantage, however, of the new developments. Why? During the European Year of Citizens, there have been a couple of studies which revealed interesting results. 41% of the European citizens want to influence the decision-making process directly and to communicate with decision makers. However, only 8 European member states use social media and internet in order to express their opinions. The leaders are the Czech Republic and also Spain, with close to 40% of citizens that do that. On the other hand, only 12 do so in Hungary and 17 in Cyprus. Youth engagement. There have been an interesting study revealing that majority of the respondents, youth, European citizens, actually are very eager to participate in the European project. Moreover, they have high expectations of it. They simply do not want to use the traditional tools to do so, as currently practiced. More than 40% of them express their opinions mainly on social media and through internet. Is this an opportunity? How can we use it in order to outreach and to diversify audiences? The concrete setting of today 2 panels is the following. ECAS has been lucky to be a partner of the ProInfo Foundation, which is a consortium of 13 partners from all over Europe, which organized during the last 12 months 12 debates at national level in different member states as a combination of offline and online participation. In each and every member state, a debate on a topic which is important for the national audience, but also have an European dimension took place, more or less with 40-50 participants on the spot. And the requirement was at least 3 other member states to participate and to contribute with views online. At the very beginning, we were a bit skeptical whether it will work or not. The conclusion now, 1 year after, is that actually it worked. There were also challenges. So today we will hear about that. ECA's role in the project, besides providing the European dimension to the debates, was also to organize this concluding event where to provide opportunity to reflect on the experience accumulated and also to see what could be the next steps. we at ECAS are not very fond of concluding events. We believe that every end is a new beginning, and therefore we decided to organize this event much more in a forward-looking manner. Why? Because you never give up something which is dear to your heart, do you? You simply learn from the experience and you go further. This is why today we are going to actually hear from the guys that did it at national level. They will tell us about the challenges, also about the achievements, and moreover, because our job in this project was to look for interesting examples of national level of online participation, we are also going to have a second panel, which is much more oriented towards presenting the examples of more of a partnership interaction between decision makers and citizens. Can we do it together? I think it's very clear what we have in mind. We are pretty transparent in that. We want to look at the national examples where decision makers were brave enough to try, at least, to co-decide with citizens, and to reflect and analyze to see if there is a potential to at least pilot something similar at EU level and on EU issues. We will be happy to actually share the findings with you and to think about that together. Before now proceeding further and giving the floor to our keynote speaker, I would like to ask my colleague Elisabeta to come here and to lead us into the online voting. What should we do in order to be able to vote online, first, and second, to have a try on that? Elisa 2.0.
So, good morning. Digital democracy, so let's digitalize ourselves. Just a quick mention about the Wi-Fi. For the one of you that have a Belgian connection and 3G and free actually that you can use it, I would kindly ask you to use your 3G as I am using it on my phone. For the others, of course, you can use the Wi-Fi. As Assya already mentioned, use each and every Wi-Fi besides the live media, because this is the one that we are using for the web streaming. So, just to test a bit the voting system, this is something new, so I will explain it to you. You will see it up there. You can respond in two ways. So you can go on your browser, you type www.poev.com/ECAS, and you will see this, diagram, and you can vote. Voila, first one. So you can vote also via SMS. For the ones that have a Belgian phone and have free SMS, you can use it, and you can first activate your SMS voting by just writing ECAS, and then you can actually vote, send another SMS with your answer. So let's wait other like 30 seconds to see if somebody is voting. I guess we are about 80 in this room, so let's see. We can do it, yes. I can also vote. So, do you have problems with the voting? Questions? It's low, yes. Welcome to this country, but we are trying our best. Huh? Unfortunately, Belgium is one of the countries where high connection is limited compared to other countries, but we are trying our best. If you have your 3G, just use it. Maybe let's wait other 10 seconds. And then there are also chairs here, so if you want to sit, or just don't stand up, it's not needed. Okay. Yeah? As a first try, let's try the other one, which is a bit more challenging. This is just a first try. The other one, also for, yeah. So, as we are about to discover what crowdsourced legislation is, we want just to try, voila, what this is actually. And if you know, so that we also adjust our expectations and the speakers' presentations after. So, the first answer is consulted with the public online, elaborated by the public and decision makers by interacting online. C is proposed by citizens and proposed to decision makers. D is related to the use of e-democracy platforms, and I don't know is D. So be honest and don't be shy, vote, and yes, I apologize for the speakers. Yes. But you can vote in the next panel. If you have problems, just raise your hand and we come and help you with the colleagues. I see that more people participated this time, which is good. Getting better. It's a learning process. Yeah? Okay. Then for us, you will hear from us again at the end of the first panel. We will then have 3 questions for you, which will be testing a bit what has been discussed and your vision about the democracy. Okay, thank you.
I have the pleasure to present to you Professor Lauristin. She is professor in communication and media and also member of the European Parliament. Maybe you would like to tell a couple of words more about yourself, and also you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning. And yes, I can say that in my civil life I'm teaching communication, political culture and political communication, including all questions of democracy. But now here in political life I am a member of European Parliament, and I am responsible in the Libre Committee for a report on data protection, so that I'm dealing with this digital Europe every day. And I have to say also that certainly we are now in the stage where the European Commission and European Parliament together in the coming years will really drive Europe very strongly toward digitalization in all areas, because now it's set as one of priorities of the new Commission, and it will include so-called digital single market, but let us not think about that only as a single market. It is really digital society, because it will include all kinds of services. We can call also this kind of thing as a service. And that means that in all areas the infrastructure should be developed, the broadband connections which have to reach every citizen, and also from other side all kinds of new platforms. And for that, that's really the highest moment to go further also with civil society in creating this kind of platforms. But I have to say at my first statement that all research done in this area concerning information society in general and digital democracy in particular is showing that there is no society, no democracy, no activity born from computers. It's all born from people. So if there are no people who are interested in solving some problems, then there could be very good connections and highest level of computerization, but nothing will happen with democracy. But then there is other side. If there are a lot of people who want to solve some problems, to participate, but they don't have access, they cannot communicate with each other, they cannot create some common initiative, create a common pressure, then also nothing will not happen, nothing will happen. So the whole issue we're discussing today and in all this kind of meeting is how to bring these two things together. From one side, how to create readiness, motivation for people, for young people especially, to be interested in public life, to be interested in politics, to be interested in legislation, to come up with ideas, new ideas, their demands, and from other side, how to then give access, to give opportunity for broader contact so that there will be real power, how to empower people using these digital devices. And there are two sides of the issue. And that's the absolute truth that without NGOs, without networking in real life, there will be no digital democracy. Now, when we now come to these technical opportunities, then I am coming from the country, Estonia, where at first the e-voting is part of everyday political life. In our last elections in European Parliament, Jorma, how many percentage we had voting e-voting? 20%? Almost 30%. There is sitting my assistant who had been my master student and made his master work on digital democracy, so you can communicate with him when I have to leave. And you see, 20% of the population used e-voting system, meaning they didn't need to go out of their homes, they had access to all materials, everything, and they could make their choices. And I have to say there was a lot of doubts, and in the beginning when we had the first time, it was before last, two elections behind elections, and there was very few people, there was a lot of discussion that not trustworthy, that you could be manipulated and controlled and so on. Then there was very broad discussion among our technical experts on digital, the hackers, from hackers to system developers. And then they have ensured our society that it is really safe. There are all these data protection measures inbuilt in the system. And now people feel quite comfortable, so that even older people are starting to vote electronically on e-elections. But immediately, when we have this really very big achievement, there was next question raised that yes, that's very nice that we can vote on elections, but we made research about people who came to vote on election, would they vote also without the election? And yes, majority said yes, that there is not very strong effect that people who are, say, not interested will come through computers and become interested. Nay, they have to be interested beforehand. Then what is added value? When you can vote on elections, then how you come to this decision for whom you're voting? Is there a difference? For example, is election campaign changed? If you have all people in our country, for 100% of young people, they all are sitting 24 hours per day in Facebook and using all kinds of devices. So are they then there looking for political materials, making their own research on background information, discussing in the social networks about the virtues of the different political platforms and so on? Not exactly. If you now look at so-called e-campaigns of political parties, then there more we can see that parties are adjusting to so-called use psychology, so that there are computer games, all kind of quizzes and so on, so that say, oh, we want politics to be interesting for young people. But can you really change something through games, through these quizzes? No. If you want really to change something, you have to go inside. You have to look what are those legislative ideas, what kind of changes in society one or other political group, party or politician want to bring. And that's not just fun. You can tweet and have idea. No. it's a work. It's analytical work. And now I will not put you on here voting, but I will ask you, as you are from different NGOs, please show me how many of you have used this kind of electronic devices, the electronic communication, in order to have some analytical discussion about some draft law or some decision-making process, so that you really have used this opportunity for deliberative democracy, to really analyze, discuss, and then make common decisions. Please show in your organization, in what is a part of that. Yeah, you see, the say maybe 5-10%. And that is a major issue, really. So in order to have effective e-democracy, NGOs, all people who are really interested, they also need some, say, activation and even help. Because I don't think that everybody, including us, for example, new members of European Parliament, can easily read those texts which are there on the tables. They are in this Eurospeak. They are sometimes very difficult to understand with all these abbreviations, all this very formal bureaucratic language and so on. So in order your NGO or any other can make sense of that and then make some proposals or even discuss something, translation is needed. Some mediators are needed who can pick up what is really sensitive, interesting, important, create for NGOs on this digital environment some agenda, what could be discussed, what are the main points, what could be the options. And here we come to crowdsourcing. And I can tell you that we have a very, very interesting experience in Estonia. Now it's already 2 years ago, almost. We had in our society, 2 years ago, it started quite big, say, rise of negative feelings about the political system we have. There was said it stagnated, that there are only 4 major parties in parliament who are doing all the time the same things. There are no access for other newcomers. There are no real substantial debate and so on. And there were a lot of articles in the press, and the people, the professors and writers, and they wrote articles. But then there was a question how to change that. And there was an initiative to use crowdsourcing. From those articles, those people who were active were picked like main ideas how to change the system, how to change the election system, what else have to be done. And then there was campaign on internet. At first, the first step really, which really brought us to this crowdsourcing, was that when these people who were active, they signed some kind of manifesto and put it in a newspaper. And it was in an online newspaper, and it collected 16,000 supportive signatures in a week. And that was really surprising because it wasn't meant for that. And then it was discovered that now we have the moment where we can do something. There are people who want change, and we can do something. And then there was question, what we have to do. And here, crowdsourcing was then organized in this way that from these articles, from those ideas, from these responses also, were analytically collected main points. Those main points were put on internet, and there was a special platform that people could discuss them, could say against or for, make their arguments, and there was the expert panel who analyzed all those comments, proposals, and so on. And it then was generalized in main set of proposals, and then was organized a special meeting in a big hall. You know, we have this Songfest field in Tallinn. So on the Songfest field, not on the field, but there was the big hall also there. The people were collected throughout Estonia. There was a representative sample, not just activists, but representative sample, and they then were given there on the spot. Those on the internet, 2 months, the results of 2 months' work on the internet, and then there they had the final vote to put priorities, what they think is the most important, and so. For example, one of the most important things was that the threshold for parties to come after election to parliament have to be lowered from 5% to 3%. And this kind of very concrete things, not just let's be better and be more democratic, yes, we love freedom, yes. No, it were very, very detailed, concrete proposals, the list of them. And they were then collected through this crowdsourcing, discussed, and then voted. Now you have to say that, oh, how wonderful example, and certainly you had a major effect on your voting system, on electoral system, the democracy now is flourishing. Not at all. Why? Because here I am coming to the last final stage of this kind of process, where those results are going. Because this is just intellectual exercise. We have some description what it is. But when we put here what to do and then vote, then somebody have to decide what to do. And if you want to change the law, then it's parliament. And what we then discovered, that there was no link, there is no interface. How to come from this result of this work to decision-making process, because there is a law, and is a law about how parliament is working. There was nothing about digital democracy, there was nothing about how to use this kind of exercises, because yes, even in European Parliament, we have, for example, now this kind of legislative opportunity that if you collect throughout Europe, in 7 different countries, million signatures, and through internet it could be possible, then this is a proposal which have to be discussed officially by European Parliament. But can you imagine practically how to achieve million signatures in 7 different countries? What kind of steps have to be done? What kind of online, offline, who have to prepare, who have to organize intercultural meetings and so on. And then you can imagine that this kind of digital, all European democracy, it needs from bottom, a lot of work, but also it needs change, because I think that million is too much. Very often there are things which even are not interested for million people, but which could be very, very important for some area or for some issue and so on. So I have to finish with this say proposal that in order to have real digital democracy, we have to develop resources. At first, resources offline among ourselves, that people who are interested, that those mediators who could really bring this all information which is in internet to your members so that you can discuss. Then you have to develop this kind of platforms and knowledge for crowdsourcing and other methods. There are not only that, there are different other. But the third thing is most important. We have to create the legislative structures which then will serve as interface between the digital and the real legislative two systems in society. And that's inevitable, because with this digitalization, it's clear that the old systems, all those old institutions which really have developed from antique Rome and Greece, all kind of fora, kind of parliaments, so on, they're not becoming obsolete completely, but they have to be developed and then need some additional institutional settings to work with these digital audiences, because they are not now set for that. They are national parliaments, national legislatures, and if you look at European level, then there is very, very few this kind of mechanism, how to bring together European audiences so that they really will have some common message or common proposal. Because that's not about coming to the streets and saying that, oh, we like this and that. If we seriously want to change something, we have to change institutions and legislation. that it needs a lot of work. And internet will help us when we can use all information there, can develop real deliberation, real discussion, can create agenda which could be international because we can reach each other not by travel but by internet. And then also come to this, the opportunity to this mechanism which will change our idea into the real change, into real legislation. That's true for national level, that's true for European level. And so that's enormous work we do. But all starts from ourselves, all starts what we're doing, everybody in our organization. Then first thing is to look what is already there, what kind of information, what kind of documents, which kind of background information, organize this kind of deliberations, analytical work, try to do it. And I understand that in many, many places there are already a lot of examples where you, on local level you can do a lot of things. For example, I don't know, in your cities, in our city, I mean, Seoul University city in Estonia, we now have the new idea to have the sort of public participation in budget making for the city, which is also done using the internet. And there are others, this kind of things. So there are a lot of experiences. When we bring them all together, then I'm certain that someday we'll have in European Parliament some proposal how in this digital Europe to change the relationship between European citizens and Parliament in a way that this kind of work will directly come to the agenda of the Parliament sessions. Thank you. I'm sorry, really, I have to leave you because I have to be back because it was planned that at 10 I can leave because I have work going on. So excuse me. And Jorma will be with you and he will tell you what important ideas will be developed here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming and being our guest. We rely on the European Parliament to consider using those methods and being more open to new technologies, but as well as the European Commission. Because at the end of the day, the Commission is the initiator of the legislation, and there aren't any promising signs that actually they want to move towards crowdsourcing, at least at this point.
You're right, the European Commission, yes, they are the start of the process. We are the end, they are start. But the work to be done is the same. Anyway, we need proposals to be developed in a way that they could be then included in all this.
Thank you so much once again. Let's continue now and hear from the national organizations that have tested the combination online-offline participation, and they will share with us how much did they suffer. Did it work? What were the challenges? Is it promising start of something? Is it worth it at all? So first I would like to give the floor to Miss Elisabeta Dinu. She is coming from Romania and she is working for the National Association of Citizens Advice Bureaus. Please.
Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start by saying I'm really honored to be here on behalf of NACAB Romania. The National Association of Citizens Advice Bureau was founded in 2002, and for us this project was a great experience because what we aim to do is to consolidate the Romanian society by offering services of information and advice and by promoting the interest of all citizens within the decision-making process. And this kind of new technologies that we can use are actually a very important means that could lead to, let's say, successful participatory democracy. Regarding the conference that we organized within this project that we've been partners in, on the 17th of June last year, we organized a conference in Bucharest that addressed as a main topic the issue of solidarity in times of crisis. We all know that for 7 years now the economical crisis has been facilitating, let's say, a process of change in the sense in which the European civil society found itself in the moment in which it had to redefine itself. In this sense, the event organized in Bucharest in June took into consideration the impact of the crisis on the civil society, as well as the mechanisms that were triggered to respond to it. And to start by saying what were, let's say, the main conclusions and findings of this conference, we found that the economical crisis impacted the CSOs and made them reshuffle their services. And one of the online interventions had, let's say, a very good example of this, Mr. Mariano Votta. His presentation within our conference he talked within this presentation about the issue of the gap between the welfare state and the new developing needs of citizens. Because during the time after the economical crisis started, we actually should think about how we are going to define vulnerable groups or redefine vulnerable groups. And in this sense, he wanted to coin the fact that he thinks that the CSOs are responsible of intervening in this process in order to offer support to these vulnerable groups that don't benefit yet from the welfare state, in the sense in which the welfare state cannot cover yet their needs. Furthermore, also we found that the crisis increased solidarity, although the economical crisis is a very negative thing that we think of. We found that it increases solidarity between citizens and NGOs, and between NGOs themselves. And also, as an example, a good practice example, our partners from Albania that also intervened online highlighted the increasing solidarity at the regional level in regards to the floodings that affected the Balkans in recent time. Nonetheless, we also saw, which is very important because we value the grassroots input into the decision-making process, we also realized that the level of mobilization increased when the effects of the crisis were felt at the grassroots level. Also, as I said, I think that the crisis can also be considered a factor that triggered the elevation of civic engagement, and also a factor that facilitated this engagement was tackled also during an offline intervention, this time during the conference by Oana Popescu, and that is the role of the media as new means of civic participation. Previously, when I was listening to the previous speaker, I was thinking about the fact that through an online presentation, intervention, you cannot do what she did today here. You cannot engage an audience as well as she did today here talking to you. And I think that was one of the main challenges when we organized this conference. The main challenge was that it was very hard to maintain a two-way communication between the audience that was present in the room physically and our online speakers. I think this was one of the main challenges, but otherwise the conference went quite well, and of course one of the biggest advantages was that we could engage so many people that could not be present physically there. And in regards to the importance of this new means of communication, I want to mention a moment that in Romania at the national level was quite important, the recent presidential elections that we had. And in this respect, I think it's quite interesting to mention the fact that social media, we have lots of commenters that consider that social media contributed strongly to the victory of our current president. And out of my experience, because I'm a blogger, I'm active in social media, I can tell you that never in my experience until now, I have seen so many people that voted for the first time actually this year, posting on all the available social media means about let's go to vote. And this happened between the first and the second ballot. And in fact, it was one of the best examples that although we are not using this means for deliberative democracy just yet that well, they are starting to have an impact and they have great potential. So with regards to the conference, I think it was quite successful, and I think that this was our only challenge regarding this connection between online and offline presence, the audience. But I think that in terms of solidarity in times of crisis, it is quite important because although the crisis was a negative aspect, what it did was that it created, let's say, a better cohesion between all the entities in civil society. So also in regards to solidarity, I think that because today we are all standing in this room in appreciation of the same values and the same common principles that we all believe in, I think this conference also is a sign of, let's say, of solidarity. Thank you on behalf of NACAB, and I really look forward on implementing this kind of modern means of deliberative democracy from now on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mariano Votta was mentioned a couple of times. Where is he? Our next speaker. Okay, so then, yeah, okay. Then next, yeah. Mariano, do you want to make your presentation now? Apparently I changed the places with Maarja, but if she doesn't, okay, Maarja, she's from the country which is the digital champion, Estonia. So she will share a little bit more of their experience with us.
Hello everyone, I am Marja from Estonia and here to represent the Open Estonia Foundation. As part of the JoiEU consortium, we had a debate last year in April, just a few weeks before the European Parliament elections, on political participation in EU affairs through European elections as one form of it. And we aimed above all to engage young people, so we're really grateful to our good partners from European Movement Estonia who helped us reach out to their network of young enthusiasts of the European project. And just as all other JoiEU events, we also combine the online and offline debate. While a bunch of us were sitting at a conference room in Tallinn, we had 5 presenters join us from Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Croatia, and Romania. So in that sense, this model was great, that we had 5 great contributions to the discussion without any of our dear partners having to leave their comfortable offices. We also faced some minor technical difficulties, but this is, I guess, normal if you have to coordinate communication between 6 computers in 6 different geographical locations. You have to make sure everybody has a smoothly running internet and so on. But it could easily be worked out, so we didn't really have any problems with that. I guess as to the numbers of participants who followed us online, Petko will know more about it and probably also share a bit of statistics later. But I mean, speaking about digital democracy, I would say that the results of our debate were much more interesting than the format of the debate. We decided to approach the topic of European Parliament elections and participation in the elections by making it really simple and down to the basics. So we posed the question of how can the MEPs that we elect to Brussels in May last year, how can they establish a stronger links with citizens and to keep in touch when they have taken their seats in Brussels and Strasbourg? Because in Estonia we have this kind of a widespread popular bitter image of sending the MEPs to Brussels to a 5-year well-paid vacation. So in order to break this stereotype, which to some extent might be true, because we don't hear too much from the MEPs once they've been elected. So in order to do that, we decided to propose a couple of recommendations on behalf of citizens on how we would love our MEPs to be in touch with us. So we developed 6 main recommendations. The first was to be present online and to pick the channels of communication according to where citizens actually are, to use social media to reach young people, but also not forget the traditional media and also local newspapers, the good old radio to reach older generations. Secondly, use simple language. Try to break these difficult, complex European policies down to elements that we can all understand, and illustrate and give examples as much as possible. Thirdly, MEPs should aim to explain the bigger picture of the policy decisions that the Parliament takes and not get stuck in the bureaucratic details, which sometimes happens. Fourthly, we also discussed that developing public speaking skills is really important if MEPs want to be stopped and listened to. Also, we suggest that making the multitude of existing civil society organizations their partners could be a good idea as sources of knowledge about what citizens really need and want, and also as a way to reach out to citizens later. And finally, we also thought it would be worthwhile to, for the new parliament to discuss more actively the perspective of creating attractive pan-European media channels to make Europe more visible and present in our daily lives. So that much about the recommendations of the debate. If I was to recommend something to organizers of similar debates and similar projects in the future, I would first of all say that breaking the seemingly complex issues down to very simple questions, such as how do we want to communicate with our MEPs, might be a good approach. So this is worth considering in the future as well. And secondly, on a more general note, I would also warn organizers of such events and initiatives of being too enthusiastic about the perspective of digital democracy and about thinking that the digital democracy is about the digital. It is not. We can have excellent online tools, but we still need users to fill them with content and meaning. So this is where we actually still need to work with the everlasting challenges of building a more participatory culture, a culture of participation, and a culture of engaging and reaching out on behalf of policymakers. So that is it from me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very interesting insights, and now it's really Mariano. You're welcome. Elisa will help with the presentation. True, Elisa? Yes. Okay.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mariano Votta. I come from Italy. I'm responsible for the European policy of my organization called Cittadinanza Attiva, and the director of the international branch called Active Citizenship Network. Well, some elements. Our issues was the citizen protections. It's okay. The protection citizens' rights. We have decided to focus on the protection citizens' rights as passengers for several reasons. First one, that only 34% of the passengers are aware of their rights, as the DG Move remembers in the webinar. Also because we realized this initiative in September in the framework of European Mobility Week, and also because the transnational mobility is a so important fundamental rights stated by the treaties. And last but not least, also because it's a very important topic for my organization, not only at national level, but also at European level, because we are recognized as one of the stakeholders of the DG Move European campaign, Your Passenger Right at the End. It was important to analyze the difference between the offline and online debate in Italy. For example, the online debate was characterized by so high level of discussion coming from DG Move, the head of unit of the passenger right, Unit 4, but also coming from two very important services led by European Commission, European Consumer Center, and another platform in which also ECAS is involved. The representative from 6 countries, also outside the European Union as Serbian ones. Also some little problems, the difficulty to interact for the Italian participant due to the linguistic barriers, to be honest, and some technical problems in order to manage the webinar. It was important also the difference of the output of the online and offline activities. The online output was to collect and share good practices coming from 4 countries and civil recommendation at the national and European level. The offline activities was much more interactive, also because it was discussed in Italian language, and the issues was focused at the national problem. And very important also the output, because it was decided to realize a civic mobilization in 30 Italian cities in order to underline the relevance of the protection of citizens' rights as passengers. So it was decided to organize this event, also thanks to with the communication materials produced by the European Commission. We have asked, we have received this material in of course, in our language, in Italian language, and organized this in 30 cities in the next months, so coming from September until the end of October. Just some proposal as our output of our initiative. Of course, it was a very important initiative. Our proposal are in 3 kinds of activities. First one, we have realized at national level a survey in order to understand which are the problem of a specific kind of passengers. So the patients has particular kind of passenger. As you know, there is a directive that allowed us to go abroad for healthcare reasons. So the point is, which is the specific needs of patients when we have to go abroad for healthcare reason. We have realized a survey at the national level, and we are interested also to realize this kind of activity at European level. The second point is to understand to guarantee the right to access to the mobility. And so we have realized also at the national level a survey in which the economic access of how much does it cost for the public transportation in Italy, in several countries, in several cities, and we are interested to realize it at European level in order to compare the situation in different cities. And the last point is to increase the tools, online tools. We have organized an online quiz for the self-evaluation in 8 languages. So it was an example in which we can use the new way, the new instrument at online level. Thanks.
Thank you. As you see, variety of topics, variety of experiences. Now, our next speaker is from Spain. This is Miss Marisa Crespo, and she will tell us about their experience. You're welcome. Please.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. First, I must say thank you to European Citizen Action Service and Prof to invite Spain to share this experience. The conference, Civil Society and the Non-Europe Debate, What Breaks Europe, was held in Spain on 11 April 2014. It was very close to the parliamentary election, as you can remember. It was held in a special day. It was 11M in Madrid, that you remember was the commemoration of the attack in Atocha. The debate was held in the headquarters of the European institution in Madrid. The main objective was to promote a more and better knowledge of civil participation in the democratic life of the European Union. The platform of NGOs that I represent is integrated by 26 NGOs, the biggest that works in social field in Spain. During the last 15 years, we were working in civil dialogue, promoting social rights. But this project is very important because we must effort, we must promote more the social base work closer to the person and with the people. The platform choose four key issues. The increased exclusion in Europe, who was presented by the Red Cross. It was presented by Estrella, who is in charge of innovation in the Red Cross in Spain, and the speaker was the speaker presented a campaign, an international campaign of Red Cross, which is in a better world. The campaign speaks about the dignity of the person more than the economic crisis. The other topic was the need to build a common identity presented by the Open Society and their campaign to save Greece. The third topic was the involvement of all people, including people with special necessities, with disabilities, and the campaign about the right to decide presented by the Association of People with Disabilities.